Hey Simmers, today there's been a huge update with The Sims 4. It includes a number of new additions, including creating ghosts and create a sim, new death reactions, the ability to woohoo with Grim, bug fixes, and lots more. So let's dive into what this update includes. We look over at the Sims blog. Says that the base game updates, Sims will react uniquely to others' deaths based on traits and relationships. You can experience everything from sobbing for a loved one passing to retching at a stranger's death. Ghosts can now be created in Create a Sim for child through elders. After passing on, Sims will now gain a new set of needs in place of the classic living Sims ones, including goo waste, ethereal sustenance, otherworldly slumber, ethereal bonding, and apparition cleansing. At the moment of death, Sims are now given the option to become a playable ghost or become free roaming. Upon the death of a marriage partner, two Sims that are married will no longer be married. They will be listed as being widowed, which is really interesting. There is a new interaction, however, that will allow them to ask to stay married so they can reinstate their marriage status. Sims can now woohoo with the Grim Reaper once again, which is seriously awesome. It's something that we've been asking for years since they took the ability away from us without mods. They've improved autonomous ghost behaviors, such as reducing frequency of ghosts breaking things and creating annoying ghost byproducts. That is the puddles that will often appear when ghosts are around. And they've added a new outdoor picture category in build mode called Life Event Activity. Some more things that they've added is infant, toddler, and child Sims that are taken by social workers will now go into the household menu and manage worlds, instead of it just being deleted. So now there's a chance that these child Sims will be adopted by another family in your save, which is seriously cool. They've added a new bonfire object called the Fieldstone Bonfire Pit to the base game. And they are giving us the ability for gravestones and urns to be able to manually swap to the other one, whether indoors or outdoors. They've also added 10 new true black color variants to 10 different base game shoes. If you have Get to Work, Aliens, Vampires, Werewolves, Realm of Magic, Island Living, or the upcoming Life and Death expansion pack, you can click on a Sims urn or gravestone to choose from a selection of which gravestones to use. If you had a Sim that loved vampires, they can have the vampire gravestone. There's also a merfolk urn and tombstone for players who have island living. Before, we didn't have this. If your Sim who is a mer person died, they just had a normal tombstone. Now they can have their own awesome looking tombstone for being a mer person and a matching urn as well, which I absolutely love that urn. It's so pretty. I didn't know this until now, but yeah, this is called a molecule, and it looks like a molecule, so it makes sense that it's called one. So anyway, you can now swap occults while in Create a Sim by clicking here. It does require you to have the necessary occult packs, and it does not remove progress on a Sim that is currently being created within reason. Like, for example, if you have a human Sim and you've put clothing on that human Sim, and then you say, oh wait, I now want this Sim to be a merfolk, then the clothing that you've put on that Sim will not be removed. You can now create elder, dog, cat, and horse ghosts in Create a Sim with the cats and dogs or horse ranch expansion packs. Again, you have to have cats and dogs or the horse ranch expansion pack in order to have pets that are ghosts. They've also released a bunch of game fixes. So with DirectX 11, they've improved GPU detection on hybrid systems. Previously, the game was defaulting to DirectX 9 on devices with NVIDIA and AMD graphics cards instead of DirectX 11, and they have now fixed that, so your game should be in DirectX 11 now. Moving over to specific bug fixes now instead of just the DirectX 11 stuff. In console, they have fixed cottage living. Images for crafted cross-stitch objects on PlayStation will no longer be in grayscale. And in Growing Together, puzzles will no longer be black and white on PlayStation. In the base game, Sims will not eat spoiled food autonomously. Thank goodness. Plants will stop dying if they've been watered enough. Interactions will no longer jam and prevent progression through the interaction queue when caused by stuck chickens. Sims will fully close their eyes when they are supposed to, like when sleeping. Parent Sims will no longer get stuck standing idly in front of the crib when trying to interact with their sleeping baby. NPC Sims will no longer enter the lot without knocking on the door. Skill books are now available at all libraries. Most recently interacted with Sims will appear at the beginning of the relationship panel. Pizza delivery Sims can now be tipped and interacted with after delivering pizza. Invisible nannies have had their superpower removed and will now remain visible. Sims will no longer incorrectly age up when adjusting game age options. They've stopped issues where a held baby will try to perform an interaction that requires an adult to put them down, but the adult can't, so it just spins in a loop. And when they mean baby, they're talking about infants, not newborns. Textures will now apply on one-tile gable roofs. Curved fences will now cast shadows. Small black shadows on lots and managed world maps can be removed by loading into the affected lot and exiting that lot to regenerate the thumbnail. Blue squares are no longer observed in lieu of empty lot traits when saving the lot in build mode. The modified career outfit cheat will now work for part-time careers. Male tank tops will no longer be observed after selecting feminine fashion choices for previous SDX assets. The morning moodlet will no longer appear when a stranger sim dies in front of the active sim. The moodlet is only displayed if they are at least acquaintances. A previous Sims Direct drop ponytail texture will no longer distort around pulled-out ear shapes. Non-binary Sims are now properly referred to as the birthday sim during the birthday party event. That is a very small fix, but it's a fantastically inclusive one that I applaud. The Gurdon Goods Nanocan 2.0 is now tagged as off-grid. And they have fixed an issue that could occur during the Adopt a Child flow while off lot. Pack-specific bugs that they have fixed include situations where build mode objects and houses placed with move objects on would appear in the sky, and that has been affecting multiple packs. It should be fixed now. However, I have seen over on social media people say that these objects that appeared in the sky, people couldn't get rid of them because they were in the skies, but now they're appearing on the ground and they've messed up a lot of people's builds. So be mindful of that, and you might want to check your builds for these odd build mode objects. In City Living, the game failed to load error message, that's the error code 132 message, will no longer trigger when you're visiting apartments with placed pools. City Living festivals and other festivals will now always appear properly in the calendar, and NPC Sims in San Myshuno will no longer experience sudden, unexpected weight gain. In Seasons, flower arrangements will look the same when placed from the library or the gallery. In Island Living, in My Wedding Stories, the Island Living canoe will no longer get water inside of it when navigating in a Tartosa world. Vertical gardens will now count towards the freelance botanist aspiration in Eco Lifestyle. If you have high school years, they fixed 2 bugs. Packed lunchboxes from your inventory are now eaten by teen Sims during lunch hours. And rocks will respawn a few hours after digging in Water Tower Way in Copperdale World. In Growing Together, they fixed a clipping issues bug. When child Sims practice riding bike near a building, that's been reduced. It hasn't been completely gotten rid of, but it has been reduced. In Horse Ranch, the Bad Ranch product moodlet will no longer be observed upon harvesting excellent, magnificent, or perfect quality plants. In For Rent, they fixed 5 bugs. Property owners will no longer be charged along with eviction settlement after tenant breaks lease. Event failed TNS will no longer trigger after completing the Tenant Revolt event by performing Promise Better Conditions. Lot challenges and lot traits of a lot downloaded from the gallery will now reflect correctly in the game. When a tenant sim bulldozes a unit in a residential rental, the rent for other hidden units will not reset to 0. And the long tunic pants dark pink asset will now pair properly with all of the nail assets. In Lovestruck, they fixed one bug, which is the petty contrast orange asset will now have orange swatches, which is good. In Vampires, infants will no longer teleport to outside of the crib when resuming the game right as the baby transitions to sleep, which is fantastic because this isn't just been affecting infants in a vampire lot. If you have vampires, this has been affecting infants no matter which world you're in, and it's been really annoying. I'm really glad that they fixed that. In Realm of Magic, the spellcaster animation will run less frequently in Create a Sim. Thank you. And they've also fixed that if you have the Werewolves pack. And turn werewolves will no longer occasionally lack color on their nose. In Vintage Glamour, the globe bar drink platter now fits on accent, end, and coffee tables. In Paranormal, the lights will no longer revert to auto mode in haunted houses. In Crystal Creations, the crystal tree will no longer become invisible or transparent, and the crystals will now be collectible. And finally, in Bust the Dust, inspired moodlets from cleaning the house now have a proper timer to prevent overriding other moodlets and blocking related interactions. These are all fantastic bug fixes, and I'm really glad to see them, especially the For Rent pack fixes that they've done. So my friends, what do you think about this base game update? Are you excited for now being able to woohoo with the Grim Reaper? Are you excited about all the other things that they've added and fixed to the game? Let me know in the comments. And as always, have a good one, and I'll see you later.